everyone, welcome back. Today is Tuesday, December the 8th. Today we're going to be going over another section of our Out of the Dust book. We are almost finished with it. And we are also going to be showing you how to join the quizzes website. That way, if you have a quiz that we assign to you, you will already have an account made and will not have to worry about getting anything turned in late. Okay? So as we get started, today let's go over possessive nouns. So we have already completed a Google form over this. We have done this countless times. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue practicing. And we have a few questions on the next slide for you to practice some more. So I noticed that on the Google form, you guys seem to have trouble with when to give just an apostrophe, like in the second example, and when to give it an apostrophe S, like in the first example. Okay, so if you're talking about one person or one thing, that's when you give an apostrophe S. Okay, if you're talking about a plural noun, like girls, so imagine that the apostrophe isn't there, and you're talking about the girls' clothing section at JCPenney, then you'd want to give just an apostrophe. Okay, if you're talking about one girl, you just give an apostrophe S. But if you're talking about more than one of something and there's an S at the end, you need to include that apostrophe. So here's your 5 examples. Go ahead and pause the video and figure out how you are going to give each of these plural and singular nouns possessive punctuation. Okay, and number 1, many babies' rooms have pictures. Babies should only have an apostrophe after that S since it's already in plural form. Number 2, the picture's main color is green. We will include an apostrophe and an S. My parents' hobbies include painting. Parents should, just like babies, have an apostrophe, no S. 4, one of the world's most famous artists is Calder. There's only one world, so it needs an apostrophe S, just like picture. And finally, number 5, many of Calder's works are large enough to take up a museum's lobby. Just like picture and world, we need an apostrophe S. Now we're going to move right into reading our section for the day that you will be completing the quizzes over in just a moment, and also completing your 3, 2, 1 for the day. So let me pause this video. Okay, now we're going to continue on and go on into reading our section. So we're starting with Summer of 1935, The Dream. Piano, my silent mother, I can touch you. You are cool and smooth and willing to stay with me. Stay with me, talk to me. Uncomplaining, you accept the cover to your keys, and still you make room for all that I place there. We close our eyes together, and together find that stillness like a pond when the wind is quiet and the surface glazes, gazing unblinking at the blue sky. I play songs that have only the pattern of myself in them, and you hum along supporting me. You are the companion to myself, the mirror with my mother's eyes. Midnight Truth. I am so filled with bitterness, it comes from the dust. It comes from the silence of my father, and it comes from the absence of my mom. I could have loved her better, and she could have loved me too. But she's a rock and dust and wind now. She's carved stones. She's holding my stone brother. I have given my father so many chances to understand, to reach out, to love me. He once did. I remember his smile, his easy talk. Now there's nothing easy between us. Sometimes he takes notice of me, like coming after me in the dust, but mostly I'm invisible. Mostly I'm alone. My father's digging his own grave. He calls it a pond, but I know what he's up to. He is rotting away, like his father, ready to leave me behind in the dust. Well, I'm leaving first. Out of the Dust. This is not a dream. There's no comfort in dreams. I try to contain the ache as I leave my bed. I try to still my heart as I slip from my room with my handkerchief of dimes. Moving slowly down the stairs, I cross through the kitchen, taking only some biscuits, and leave my father's house. It's the middle of the night, and I hear every sound inside of me, outside me. I go, knowing that I'll die if I stay, that I'm slowly, surely smothering. I walk through the calm night under the stars. I walk to where the train stops long enough for a long-legged girl to latch on, and as my heart races, I feel the earth tremble beneath me, and then the sound of sharp knives metal against metal as the train pulls up to the station. Once I might have headed east to Mr. Roosevelt. Now I slip under cover of darkness inside a boxcar and let the train carry me west, out of the dust. Gone west. I am stiff and sore. In 2 endless days on the train I have burned in the desert, shivered in the mountains. I have seen the camps of Dust Bowl migrants. Along the tracks there was one girl. I saw her through the slat in the boxcar. She stared up at the passing train. She stood by the tracks watching, and I knew her. Something lost and something gained. He climbs into my car, and he's dirty and he has a sour smell. His eyes are ringed by the soil that comes from riding trains. But there's a deeper shadow to his eyes, like ashes, like death. He needs a hair comb and a shave, and a mending needle applied to his pants. He speaks to me. Where are you from, miss? He wants to know. He shows me a picture of his family, a wife and 3 boys. The photograph is all he carries. That and the shredding, stinking clothes on his back. I feed him 2 of the stale biscuits I've been hoarding and save the rest. I'll be hungry tonight, what with giving my day's biscuits away, but I can see the gaunt of hunger in his cheeks. He asks if I have water, and I shake my head, my tongue thick with thirst. He eats the biscuits, and he doesn't care they're caked with dust. He finishes eating, and crumbs stick to his mustache. He's staring hard at me, and his eyes water. I've done it again, he says. I've taken food from a child. I show him my cloth bag with more biscuits. At home, he said, I couldn't feed them. Couldn't stand the babies always crying, and my wife, always that dark look following me. Couldn't take no more. Lost our land. They tractored us out, so we had to leave. Rented a while, and then moved to Lucille's kin. Couldn't make anything grow. I nodded. I know. We talked as the train rocked and as the cars creaked, as the miles showed nothing but empty space. We talked through the pink of the setting sun and into the dark. I told him about Ma dying, and I told him about my father, and how the thing that scared us both the most was being left alone. And now I'd gone and left him, and I told him about the piano and Arlie Wanderdale, and how I wasn't certain of the date, but I thought it might be my birthday. But he was sleeping by then, I think. He was like a tumbleweed. Ma had been a tumbleweed too, holding on for as long as she could, then blowing away on the wind. My father was more than sod, steady, silent, and deep, holding on to life with reserves underneath, to sustain him and me and anyone else who came near. My father stayed rooted, even with my test and my temper, even with the double sorrow of his grief and my own. He had kept a home until I broke it. When I awoke, the man was gone, and so were my biscuits, but under my hat I found the photograph of his family, the wife and 3 boys. Maybe the photograph was left in tray for the biscuits. Maybe it was a birthday gift. The whole thing he had left to me. The children in the picture were clean and serious, looking out with a certain longing. The baby had his eyes, and on the back of the photograph, in pencil, was the address of his family in Moline, Kansas. First chance I'd send the picture back, let his wife know he was still alive. I got off the train in Flagstaff, Arizona. A lady from a government agency saw me. She gave me food and water. I called Mr. Hardley from her office and asked him to let my father know I was coming home. Homeward bound. Getting away, it wasn't any better, just different and lonely. Lonelier than the wind, emptier than the sky, more silent than the dust, piled in drifts between me and my father. Met. My father is waiting at the station, and I call him Daddy for the first time since Ma died, and we walk home together talking. I tell him about getting out of the dust and how I can't get out of something that's inside me. I tell him he is like the sod, and I am like the wheat, and I can't grow everywhere, but I can grow here with a little rain, with a little care, with a little luck. And I tell him how scared I am about these spots on his skin, and I see he's scared too. I can't be my own mother, I tell him, and I can't be my own father. And if you're going to leave me, well, what am I supposed to do? And when I tell Daddy so, he promises to call Doc Rice. He says the pond is done and we can swim in it once it fills. And he'll stock it with fish too, catfish that I can go out and catch up an evening and fry up. He says I can even plant flowers if I want. As we walk together side by side in the swell of dust, I'm forgiving him step by step. for the pail of kerosene, as well as we walk together side by side in the soul deep dust. I am forgiving myself for all the rest. And your assignment for the exit ticket today, after reading that section out loud to you, you're going to write 3 adjectives that describes Billy Joe's current state of mind. Now remember that an adjective is a describing word. So a word that describes a noun. So give me 3 words that describes Billy Joe in this last section of reading. And how it describes her current state of mind. So what her mood is in this last reading. How would you describe her mood? Number 2, briefly explain 2 reasons for Billy Joe's state of mind. Reason 1 of why she feels the way she does, and reason 2 of why she feels the way she does. And finally, number 1, record 1 example of figurative language or imagery that you believe best captures Billy Joe's state of mind, and explain your thinking. I would recommend taking a look at Something Lost, Something Gained. That is full of similes, metaphors, and imagery. So you don't have to give me a quote here, just give me a brief summary of that figurative language. Okay, so if you're going to talk about Billy Joe describing the man that climbs onto the train, that would be great imagery. Okay, and in the next section, you'll just explain to me how that shows Billy Joe feeling lonely, or Billy Joe feeling bad for him, or Billy Joe feeling sad. If you have any questions, you may contact myself or Miss Rodas. We'd be happy to help you guys. And the next video will be over how to join the quizzes website. Have a great day.